Hello and welcome to the Coaches Dugout podcast, a podcast for coaches by coaches. Now, today's topic is a discussion on coaches and media relations or the media. But before that, don't forget to click on the follow or subscribe button on Spotify. We are on YouTube as well, so please subscribe and follow us there. Now, what we're going to talk about today is how important it is. Is it a win-win relationship between coaches and the media, and if so, how to make that happen? Expectations of the media on coaches and vice versa. We're going to talk about that as well. Now, should there be a formal course, as in a workshop for coaches, and how we can help coaches relate to the media? And to answer all that and discuss all this, we've got a great show, a great lineup as well. Now, before that, I have to say this: we've got a late inclusion into the lineup today because we're supposed to have Shahzad as the media expert, but sadly he can't be with us today. But we've got a good replacement. That shows us that we've got strength in that, right? It's like replacing Sterling with Riyad Mahrez. I don't know whether that's a right analogy, but we'll use that, right? But yeah, so our media expert for today is Rhysh Roshan Rai. He's an experienced media personality. He has commentated on the SPL, the Asian Champions League as well, a familiar face on Fox as well. So please welcome Mr. Rhysh Roshan Rai.
Yeah, happy to be here and happy to be sitting alongside some of the legends of Singapore game.
Right.
And yourself as well.
Listen, you spoke about legends. We have on the Coaches Corner, we've got two legends. We've got ex-national players. We've got current coaches in the SPL as well. Now let me go through one by one. The head coach of Geylang International Football Club, Mr. Muhammad Noor Ali. How are you, my friend?
Mister, I'm good. I'm good, Zaz. Mr. Muhammad Noor Ali. How do you know you can do this so well?
I always do this well. And my second guest as the coach is, he's also the team manager of Tanjung Pagar United, and he does coaching as well there, Mr. Noor Ali Shah.
Just say thanks for the invite. Great to be here alongside with Roshan and Noor Ali as well.
Oh, you're very formal.
Before we start, right, let's go through a little bit. I want to talk to you about this, Noor Ali Shah. You know, I think we after the break, the short break, international break or whatever break you want to call it, the COVID break, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has been a turn, like you know, you turn the corner, Tanjung Pagar, right, in terms of results and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your secret at Tanjung Pagar?
Oh, it's from a day one plan that we have set in between the officer, the coach, the players and everything. So we set out with belief. We know we're gonna start with a target at the end of it. Yeah. So at the front we just ride through, observing other people, just progressing really well.
So we are talking about trusting the process. Is this the like
That's the buzzword.
The
The buzzword now.
Trusting the
They
process.
hear it all across the football world.
I can't say the same about Arsenal Football Club, but no, Ali, just a little bit. I think you finished your third round of the pro license diploma last week?
Yeah.
Third round, right?
Yeah,
How was it? How was the...
It has been good, the last three part.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that we have learned, and especially at highest level of football, I think there was a lot of inputs from the instructors, and especially from I think there's one guy from Australia, Rob Sherman, you know. But I think the last one was quite interesting with the mental toughness and data analytics.
a topic on mental toughness.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that was good because it's how you handle the players, and even
Great.
coaches, you know, at highest level, how you handle the team when they're not doing well and handling individuals.
Right. Now, let's kick off with the media part, right? And I think all of us are coaches. I think you've got a Roshan, you've got a
Yeah, I did a B license.
you did a B, you have a B as well. You did together, of course, doing your pro, and I've got an A, right? Now, during I can't remember. Please, just try to relive my memory, right? During your courses that you took, C, B, A, and whatever, right? Was there any formal courses on media relations?
I think in the B license, and these guys maybe can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's one module, a small segment dedicated to it, maybe like 1 hour or 2 hours in the classroom.
Was it a module or just part of a module? Like because I know like there was one part about qualities of good coaches, and then to be able to relate to the media, for example. So that's just one of it. But was there an actual module, like just
I think it's a module by itself, but then
I think we did a match, right? 8v8,
and then after that got interview.
a press conference.
So it's like a
they
role
set
play.
up a role play and everything.
How about you, Nawali?
I think we did one with Kade back in during our B license, where Kade basically had all the questions lined up for us, and then we just picked, and then the coach basically has to be sitting on one side, and the questions being thrown by the whole group of coaches, and from there, I mean, he educated us on how to handle certain questions, like for example, when your team is losing, and how you react. So it was quite interesting. It was quite a fun session with Kade. But I think one session in the coaching course is not enough, for the coaches to move.
Yeah, I wanted to ask this question as well. How important is it? How important was that part to you? Have you used it now in your so-called daily or weekly stuff with the media? If anybody calls you, for example, for the media, have you thought about it and then say, okay, yeah, maybe I might use this technique or whatever?
I mean, for me, basically, I think there's a lot of interviews you watch as a coach. You watch how Jose Mourinho, how Pep, and how certain coaches talk during the interviews, and you find this very interesting on how they handle it. The only thing is we cannot walk away from our interview. Then we put ourselves into trouble. So I think that's one thing that we
could try.
I would love to, one day, then I would decide to just get out from the scene.
How about you, Shah? Have you used it, or you just go with the flow? You don't need any.
I just go with the flow. I believe in hands-on. If I know my stuff, I know what I'm doing, then it relates to whatever outcome of the match. Then it's much more easier. And then I use my experience as a player before. So I was. As a player, I went to a lot of press conference. So I think, but as a player also, I was not taught. So I think this is one of the things that is lacking in our football ecosystem that we have to improve.
I got to say, Shasi, sorry, before you move on to the next thing, that actually I think Noor Ali, Shah, from my perspective, watching from the outside as a viewer, you guys are one of the better ones in terms of the post-match, pre-match. No, I genuinely, not because they're sitting here scared they're going to hantam me or after that.
Are they going to buy you coffee or something?
Maybe. or something. No, but I genuinely feel like actually they provide a bit of value in the
why?
Post-match. I feel like they try to explain certain things. And then there's personality coming through. And that's important. What the league needs, I think, is to build these personalities, build these characters. If people are scared to say things or, scared to express themselves, then everything will be very boring, very safe.
Right.
You don't build a product like that. Nawali was talking about Mourinho. Why you like to watch his interviews? Because you feel like, wow, this guy's exciting, right? He's blockbuster, right?
Yes.
Like you say, you can throw the mic down and just walk out. Or you can say whatever you want to say and you are hooked on it. And he's not the only one. It's the personality of the managers coming across. And I think that's also a sign of, I think, how you are with your players. I get the sense that if you have, sometimes we have these strong personalities in the media, but with the players also, they are, good personalities, and players, like to listen to them or are interested in what they're saying and things like that.
I think it comes across to the media how you treat your players a little bit like your Klopp. You're talking about Klopp, right? He's the bubbly kind of guy, and he brings it across in the media as well, to the media as well.
I mean, his players talk about how he's the same with the press, and he's the same dealing with them as well. So I mean, everybody's different. Some people are also better at using the media. Some people behind the scenes maybe a bit quieter, or vice versa. I mean, it's interesting, but from what people see, if you guys are in the media, that's the image that we get of you. Because we don't know, as the outsiders, we don't know what you are coaching the players behind the scenes. So the way you present yourself in front of the camera is what the public sees and what the public's perception of you is.
I just want to follow up on you. Fadzli, there's this listener who listens to us, and he says this, right? I like Noor Ali's forthright style. So he has a point there. This listener, I don't know who Fadzli is. He says that, he's my follower on Facebook and stuff. So he follows the podcast, and he says he likes your forthright style. So you may be onto something there, right? It's right. Yeah. You're straightforward. Probably he likes your straightforward style. So that's a good one. Now, Roshan, just going back to you, right? You have talked to coaches, even foreign ones as well, right? Foreign ones and local ones and stuff like that. How was your experience? Now, take away these two guys, and I'm not talking about the SPL alone, just coaches in general, football coaches, right?
Yeah.
How has it been? Is there any difference between interviewing a local SPL guy and a foreign guy, for example?
I got to be honest, I mean, I do stuff with AFC and all that, and I've interviewed Al Hilal, Razvan Lucescu at the Champions League and things like that. And generally, the coaches are not very, they don't really say much. It's not an insult to,
as in everywhere, in
coaches.
general.
In general, I don't think coaches really say much in, press conferences and interviews and all that. And that's because also we have separate jobs, right? The job from the media is to draw something out from you that we can make headline or that people want to hear from you. For example, our job is to draw that question answer out. Your job is to, if I answer this way, what problem will it cause my team?
And the
what
club.
problem will it cause the club? What problem might it cause me? Or, so there are certain situations where you can give some answers, certain situations where you just have to close up. But our job is to ask the questions. I feel that's the way. So I can ask whoever it is around the world, and I think generally it's
the same.
They can be guarded at times, and then other times certain things where they feel like they can give you more, they can open up and give you more. But of course, they're not going to give you, especially if I find that go before games, pre-match interview, ask the coach how you're going to set up. They're not going to give away their tactics. They're not going to tell you today we're going to attack their fullback. We're going to attack. As much as I want, as the listener, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
But I think that's trade secret, right?
Right.
He's not gonna sort of tell you that. And then they also post-match, pre-match, they need to be seen as respectful of opposition and things like that lah.
How do you answer if somebody says, okay, what's your team plans for today? What's your thinking behind putting Umar today in centre mid, for example?
For me, basically, of course, I will talk more about the opponents. If I let's say for example, I'm playing at Brex this week, so I know who will cause the problem, and which area they are good at and everything. And maybe I'll say a bit on how I'm going to counter the situation,
In general.
At the end of the day, you got 90 minutes to play, you can say whatever you want. Because for me, is you just make the game a bit more interesting. That's what I'm trying to say, because for me, if we're gonna talk about what we can say and what we can say, then we also have to look at this. When let's say you are playing against a team, let's say we are playing I'm just giving an example. Let's say we play Tampines, and while I'm doing my interview, Tampines officials are down there. So basically, whatever I say, they will know. So the lineup is out, everything is out. You play each other 3 times. So whatever tactics you're gonna talk about is, for me is, I think.
And not say the stadium private also, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Auntie running on track also can watch.
From the library, my friend.
The library also can watch.
And you might not know who's the auntie also.
I seem to have stumbled upon a boy.
yeah. So, but it's a fine line of balance, right? Like to, like you said, the media wants something in Malay. They say Korea lah. You want to correct something, right? And then the coaches, you don't want to say loads. That kind of thing.
I get that. But also, I think from my perspective, I think for SPL perspective, you asked me about the world, but I think from SPL perspective, what I feel sometimes my responsibility in the media is not to stir up controversy, but to educate the public more about the personalities that we have in the league, because the context of our league is different from Premier League or whatever league, because that has more exposure, more people are aware of that. Whereas SPL, we even the clubs themselves sometimes don't really push forward their own players or their own coaches or have these media things or things on social media for them, so that the public knows more about them. Right. And at times, if we can try and for example, if I want to ask Shah, Nawali, personally, I feel like if there's a pre-match or post-match, there are other interesting things that I would love to ask them about. You took off this player and then the game changed.
Right.
What do you think of that, for example? Or why did you bring him into this position?
That's a good question, actually.
So I feel like that actually might draw out more from them, and it's a safe thing. It's a safe question to ask in the sense that there's no real controversy. Right?
So why aren't these questions being asked?
That's a good question. I cannot answer that.
That was
Maybe
the only time that I had this question throughout the season was when I played Hougang.
Okay.
Where we lost 2-1, and I think who's the guy? The guy that
Roshan.
basically asked me something that is related during the second half part of the game. So the last game we played against them against Young Lions. I told Farah, I say it's getting bored because it's the same old thing. It's going to be very stagnant now.
It's very, how you must be proud. How you feeling?
Yeah.
You need to have impact.
It goes back to this point. This very interesting point and a very important point, right? Those who are asking questions, they need to actually watch the game. And as well as the knowledge a little bit of the game, because
knowledge of the game, yes.
Because like you said, the question was what happened when what was your thinking behind putting this guy in and then you change the game or whatever. You need to have a knowledge of the game. You can't just ask questions if you don't know things about the game. You know what I mean? So that plays a part as well.
Yeah.
Between the two of you, never mind. Shah, rate 1 to 10. How good is your interview? How much do you rate yourself?
10.
10? Seriously?
Yeah, because I know how to deflect questions, you see.
Good.
So I know how to make the
It's a
question
good point.
interesting.
No, it's a good point.
Sometimes I don't care about I don't
question.
care about the question.
Yeah.
I just open my mouth and think what is good.
Yeah.
Like my playing days, when I don't play well, I know what else. It's positive and negative. So I get a red card, create a stir, and make myself in the public. But it's publicity. It's publicity.
Yeah.
I'm smart in this. This is my head,
Yeah.
my brain is always running. So if I see the interviewer is asking me something boring, then I will deflect the question into something interesting.
That's a very interesting
I
point.
think that is one of my.
That's what I said just now. Listening to
Characters,
these
right?
two guys is
Yeah.
good. It's characters in the league that we need.
How about you? He's a 10, Nawali.
11.
Nah. I'll just rate myself what 7.
I'll give him a 10 lah. 10 plus 10, you got 20 lah.
Any cock-ups in between? Did you ever have any cock-ups during an interview?
Oh, when controlling emotions.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Sometimes I really piss off with all the players' performance, and I know I have to control.
Okay.
And the question comes in.
Yeah.
Like I wanted blow out, but I have to constrain myself because of my players' reputation and the club reputation as well. So that is the hardest part for me at this present moment.
I will go to that at the end, because this was something that I wanted to ask. How about you? Any
No, for
cock-ups?
me, I don't.
cock-ups?
I don't react to that kind of situations, especially after the game.
Okay.
Because that's one thing I have. I think as coaches, we must understand. We are the one that are responsible for things that happens on the pitch. Even you have a bad player or who's somebody miss a chance, or he wasn't having a good game. I think it's not good as a coach to blast the team or the players on the pitch. That's something you only bring within the team.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. I think over the years, I managed to calm myself a bit lah.
Guys, sorry.
Yes.
Let's see. What about blasting other coaches? Other
After
team
an interview?
After a match.
A good question.
Maybe on the touchline there was something, and then if, like, let's say I spotted something on the touchline, and
I got no problem
what
blasting Nawali, man.
Yeah, why not?
Like what happened? Like, guys, what happened in the how do you?
Okay, for example, you had a spat the last game. Seriously, you had a spat. Okay, if let's say Roshan, you asked them a question, what happened?
Yeah, so the last game, there was some issue with y'all on the touchline. You didn't shake hands. What was have y'all settled that problem? What was the issue there?
I mean, we hug actually after the game. We actually hug after the game. No, I think one reason is okay. If you ask me, everybody knows the two of us is the most asshole player, or should I use the word? If you are on the pitch as a player or as a coach, the two of us is the most hardest player or coach to go against with, because we will just come up with every single thing, But off the pitch, we are different, and we know.
No. So how are you going to answer that question? This question, he specifically asked, what happened just now? You two had a spat during the game. What happened? So
do you think you will ignore, or
how would you answer it?
How would you answer that question?
No, I will. Oh, you mean during the interview?
Yes, during the how do you answer that?
For me, I say that's part and parcel of the game, because at the end of the day, it's during the game. It's 90 minutes. You have the heated argument, and that's football. You bring that a bit of entertainment value down there, and people wants to see that. It just create that spark, But what's important is after that, you just shake horn plus. Okay. So far, I've never gone wrong yet. Shake horn. Okay, shake
for
hand.
me, I would say I have the highest level of respect for Nawali, but I think his English can be respected. But, but I think it's fair enough to share the emotions, because I think if you're honest in your emotion and you're passionate about the interview, and then it reflects on the game being played, I think people will be much more interested. That is how I felt.
Well done, guys. I wanted this to be a family podcast, going out the podcast, but after Noor Ali's,
Sorry.
just kidding, my friend.
Okay. This is the case of spice.
Yes, I was just kidding, actually. Roshan, does confidence play a part in answering questions from coaches? Okay, let's talk about SPL.
For the confidence from the coaches, you mean?
Yeah, because they might know, or they might know what they want to say, but it just doesn't come out right, or
yes.
Stuff.
I know sometimes I work with coaches on television, great coaches, experienced coaches. Alfred Riedel, for example, very experienced in the region and has been successful with Indonesia, has coached with Vietnam and things like that. But on TV, it was difficult for him to sort of translate the message.
Was it language or
language? But also even coaches whose first language is English. Sometimes it can be difficult to go on TV and express. They see something on the screen, they see something during the match.
Right.
To ask them to then bring it out in a way that is, on TV you need to be engaging. You need to present the information in a way that the regular viewer can understand, and things like that. So they find that those situations a little bit difficult. Confidence, yes. I would love to hear from these guys about the confidence from the coach's perspective. But I think from the media's perspective also, to ask the question also, you need to have confidence to ask questions.
Especially if you're asking these two guys.
You need to have control. Right? You need to have control of the situation and keep your composure, because there will be times when the coaches can be, actually y'all are very nice to the people you interview, There are times when you can ask the coach and he can be, as the word Nawali uses now, asshole to you. And then you got to since he started it, I can continue.
Carry on. I will change the theme of the title. Right.
So, and you can be shaken, in those situations. True. So you actually have to maintain your professionalism, know your job, what your role is, and stick to your thing. Because people at the end of the day, the viewer will see the interview, they can tell whether it's you who is the problem, or the coach who is the problem, or what the situation is.
But on the media side, at the end of the day, I think it is competence in terms of knowing the game, number one. I think that's very important.
Knowing the game is definitely important.
And then, like you said, the confidence and composure, right? I think those three pretty much sums it up. I don't think you guys have a confidence issue in talking to the press, right? I think you've had enough of time with the press yourself as well, Nawali, right? So in that sense, how about in general in the SPL? Do you think? Let's see if I ask your assistant coach to come forward, and speak. How do they have that confidence? Do you think? You don't have to name names if you want to, but we all know. Right? But
I have confidence in all the technical setup. Whether the SPL officers allow them. I wanted like Hafiz Osman, to go up, and Herman, the assistant coach, to go up, but it seems they only want myself and Hasrin to go up at times.
Okay.
So on my end, we are not able to educate this future coaches who are gonna be head or somebody.
It's a very good point, right?
So
it's a good point.
So it only ends up with me and Hasrin at the end of the day.
How about you, your assistant coach? Do you think, given a chance, maybe whoever, can they come up and speak?
I think it's not easy basically, because you must understand one thing. I think this thing it cannot be a trial and error during during this kind of interviews, because you must understand what is being said is also about the club, the team, and everything. So of course I have Azlan, and No Azli down there. Definitely you want to give them opportunities, but I think the best way is to get them into this kind of courses that we talk about, to get used to handle situations and how questions are, being asked, what kind of questions, you must know how to handle this. I think this is more, especially the highest level. I think this is very important.
Generally across the league, actually, I think the coaches are quite okay.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes we need to ask deeper questions to get more from them,
But I've seen and in the SPL as well, like certain coaches, they are, I wouldn't say they are not okay. They're okay. They can answer questions and stuff like that. They're very, very curt, as in very abrupt.
Yeah, I mean, again, that comes back to personality, right? As I said, actually, by right, their job is to coach. It's not to be media personality.
Of course. But it comes with the job.
It's part and parcel of the job. It's part and parcel of the job. Actually, it's also part of your responsibility, because fans want to hear from you. But what I can say is that if you come off as more personable, you give people answers about what happened in the situation, or you give more insight into the game or your team or your decision making, it actually helps you in terms of your public persona. Remember earlier I said the public only sees your interviews. They don't know what you're like in the background. So that helps the public perception of you. And so if you present this, if you give off this perception that you don't care, or your answers are curt or things like that, people get the perception that this coach, he this must be how he's like with the players as well. Rightly or wrongly,
right.
But this is life in general. People will perceive you a certain way. For example, like what again, Noor Ali, what he said just now about him being on the pitch, Alam Shah, about their behavior on the pitch or whatever. If people don't know them outside, they will think these guys are complete assholes. But actually, the reality of life is that we, as people, we can show different sides
Of course,
in different scenarios.
Work is
but perception is
Right.
important. Perception is key, because what people see of you, that's what they will believe you
So
are.
can we just establish the fact that it's very important, media relations? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
Of course, of
very,
course.
very important,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Yeah.
how do we want to bridge that gap? I think that's very important. I want to ask you this question to the coaches, right? Before going to an interview, okay, forget about the SPL kind of interview.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any apprehension that what are your thoughts before even going for an interview? Maybe you are afraid of this guy might ask me something, that kind of thing. Because we want to educate not only you guys, because you guys are okay, not bad, right? It's brilliant. But other coaches at home, we want to educate them as well. Like, before they go out for an interview, they might be afraid of the questions that may be asked. What are the kind of thoughts that come up to our mind before you go for an interview? Noali,
No,
maybe when
for
you first
me,
started out.
No, for me from day one, I don't have anything on my mind. So I'm being honest, because what I do is, if I go for an interview, if a question being asked, I will at least pause first, and then I will give a reply, because I think, like I say, it has to be positive, because that's very important, especially for us. As new coaches, young coaches, we must understand this. Why I say this, I'll give you a very good example. I took over Hazrin when he was suspended. No, not he was suspended one game against Warriors. I don't know whether you're still playing 2016.
No.
Oh, okay. So against Warriors, so Hazrin got sent off. Then I was supposed to go for the post-match interview. So after the game, when I went for the interview, so York basically said that they sit down and they say, like, Geylang were very aggressive towards the game, blah, blah, blah. So my first reply was this. I say, so if you cannot be aggressive, you play skirt and play tennis, and that actually gives two kinds of reviews,
Yeah.
And one, there's people who think that's nice to hear something new, but some people are saying I'm a bit sexist, or so there was also certain complaints and certain. So I think that's when at that time I was thinking, I should not have just palm straight away, and I should have just relaxed first, and then and answer that question.
So that's a good. You're talking about pause. It's like a technique, correct? It's like what would you learn before you answer? Pause, think about the answer, and then start talking. So that's one of the ways. How about you? No, I'm sure. Have you had any apprehensions before? Okay, what would you say about your coaches below you, right? What would you do you think that they would be afraid of going into an interview for? Like
Coaches above me.
No, below you. Sorry, below you.
I don't know. I got a problem with my English because I'm a PSLE student.
Okay.
Then I grade myself.
Don't cry.
I'm a diploma holder now.
What?
I'm a diploma holder.
No PSLE, but got diploma.
Okay.
So my boss initially in 2004 and 2005, he put me in classes.
Right.
Yeah. So just to help me my confidence in engaging with players, engaging with
Public.
Yeah.
So I think it builds my confidence. So that's the reason why I feel like for those coaches with me now, but they are ready or not, I feel they need to be thrown into the deep sea and get the hang of this, because I feel they should be ready if they are already a part of the team, because we are hands-on team.
Yeah.
Everybody understand what we're doing,
Right.
from the kid man until the management. So I think it's not a problem. Even right now, I feel like in Singapore coaches, we are saying I think a lot.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
We are saying I think a lot.
You're saying a lot.
Yeah. So when I look at, I look
because
at,
after every question we go like I think.
I think so.
Like
Like,
think.
so it's like, I think, but like today I learned from you, better pause than saying I think.
So you're talking about the way you speak, the way you handle questions, the way. So basically it's like kind of like confidence for him. Or it was confidence. You talk about your education or whatever. But seriously, got nothing to do with that, right? But what I'm saying is, coaches might go in thinking they're not confident of themselves, basically, right?
Yeah. It's possible, but that's why the point that they are trying to make is they are saying the more you. That's why I think you will edit out a bit.
The self-esteem. I think when you are a C license or never been a coach before, and then you are thrown into display. And then you will think, am I the right person to do this job or not?
Yeah.
So
I think it's the content It's the content. So even if you don't understand him, but if you understand the game, at least you understand the content. Because the way he translate just now, like deep sea is actually in Malay. No, it's translation straight away in Malay.
Okay.
It's lautan dalam.
So it's actually thrown in the deep end. Right. Okay. No, I understand that part. So it's the confidence factor, the language maybe.
No, but I want the language thing interesting because I find in Singapore actually don't need to sound like you from BBC or people tambah accent this or that. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
You shouldn't need to do that. I don't feel the need to do that. Okay, accent and broadcast voice is different. For me to have broadcast quality voice is different. But I'm not gonna say, hey, Shassi, I'm not gonna suddenly start to do that's an accent. I'm not gonna do that for commentary and things like that. So same for the coaches and all. As you bring up a great point. You don't have to speak perfect English. You just need to be able to, as you say, bring up the content.
The content, correct.
Yeah. And if he said deep sea, I still understood.
I understood. I understood. He understood, but he laughed.
I laugh because it's a direct translation.
Correct. Okay. Okay. Roshan, right? Let's say you are going into an interview, right? What are your expectations of coaches in terms of answers, in terms of content? What are you looking for exactly? So that now they probably know, but young coaches coming out, what kind of...
Okay, from my perspective, I try to research about the coaches to get deeper understanding of things that they have done in the past, where they're coming from. If new coaches, maybe at times a bit difficult, but we can maybe ask around and see, what's his style, what's his this, what's his that. So for me, always interviewing is preparation. Background about the coaches or background even about players' background. You have to research and get this inside information about them. That prevents me from asking you a stupid question.
Okay.
So for example, if I never research, I go and ask him something, he'd be like, yeah, I've talked about this many times before, something like that, or
right.
This is something that has been known. So you try and find these little nuggets of information that you can get to extract more out of them lah. So doing the research on them, trying to figure out what kind of personalities they are. Some coaches are a bit more answer yes, no. And then that's it, right? They don't expand more. Some coaches expand a lot. So you prepare more questions perhaps. Prepare for, he might say less, he might say more.
Right.
And then maybe if he says more, I can pick up something from what he's saying. So rather than just having a list of questions on paper, and then, okay, question 1, okay, he answered already. Okay, question 2, next question, okay, like that, just going through the list. You can have question, listen to what he says, listen what he's saying. Because you never know, he might pick out something key, and then you can run from there. Then your whole rest of the list.
I think that one I agree, because there's something interesting with a lot of my interviews is because every time when the first question is being thrown, a lot of the interviewers or they will just basically don't look at the phone already. They will just follow up with whatever I end. They pick up from there, then they continue to the next one. So maybe like it takes two hands to clap lah. When you start to have that kind of communication is much more easier for both of us.
Then you know what? It becomes a conversation, which is good. That's what we want. It's a conversation instead of point. Because some people do this. I'm asking the question. As soon as I throw the question, I'm just looking at my next question. And then once he finished, because I'm not going to listen already, right? And then I go on to the next question. So there's no follow up. So I think you brought up a very good point in terms of the research as well.
Research the teams, research the opposition. This is like, it takes a lot of extra work to do. What you see is not just the fella. I mean, it's okay, some people just show up and ask questions. But if you want to do it properly, you research them, research the teams that they are playing against. Research. So like you say, knowledge of the game is important.
Very important.
The interesting part is this. I want to ask, because every before every interview, let's say for Farah example, she always come to me and say, Coach, these are the questions. Is there any point of time that the questions, the coaches said that I'm not going to answer this?
I wouldn't. That one you have to ask her. I can't speak for her. But what I can tell you
through your experience.
To me, when I go for interview, I don't tell the coach what I'm going to ask.
Same here.
I don't tell. I wouldn't tell. So I don't know. Maybe she's trying to prepare you.
I mean, I'm not saying it's still a good way, But the good thing about Farah is that she doesn't, at one point in time she was just missed out on the thing, and she just continue with whatever I say lah. She's one of the one that I can say that it's quite good lah, But the funny part is, you always get these people to come to you and.
But to answer your question, you asked me about that, right? If you run the risk, if you share the question, you run the risk of the coach saying, "I'm not going to answer that" or whatever. I'm not going to answer that, and I find that that's not a good way to do it, because from your media side, then you want to answer, you want to ask this. Your job is to ask this. Whether he answer or not up to you, is you leave the answer to him. And if it's a difficult question, you still have to ask the question.
Okay, I had this experience, not me. Somebody asked a question after. I think it was before the game. Asked a question in the SPL this season to a coach, and the coach said next question. The coach actually said next question. No names mentioned, but I did hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. Before the game. So he said, and I don't know. The question was a pretty normal question. Okay, and to me it was, I don't know, rude, but again, that. And just going back to what you said, and I don't know what Farah went through or what. Maybe she was preempting you guys because of something that happened before that with a previous coach or whatever. You don't know. You never know.
No, so I can't. Like I said,
so
I can't answer for her.
Yeah.
But your thing about the coach saying next question, abruptly saying next question, it reflects badly on the coach.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That means if I ask you, people might say, like in the press, I don't know whether you all notice when you read the papers or read a news report, you say we have contacted this so and so for a comment during about this. They decline to comment.
It speaks of negativity and guilt
or something, right? What do you think of that? I ask you a question. You ask me a question. No, Nawali, I'm not going to answer. It doesn't mean I got something to hide. Obviously, it's not necessarily a good look, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay. These interviews come in maybe before a game, pre-match. In some leagues they do it during halftime. They ask question. That some leagues I've seen that before, right? I think we've seen that before, in midway, and then obviously some after the game, and then there's press conference and what have you, right? So it is different situations, different emotions. Before a game is different emotions. After a game is different emotions. You have positivity, negativity, right? I want to put you guys in a spot. Okay, two different scenarios. Roshan will ask the questions based on the scenario, and you guys answer.
Okay. I never prepared for this.
This is all right. So we'll start off with Noor Ali and Shah. Roshan is the interviewer, right? Okay. Noor Ali and Shah, your team just got hammered 5-0, right? Played like crap. Didn't do anything that you asked for, right? No intensity. Didn't have fight, especially in the second half. First half was 2-0, second half just gave up the fight 3-0, lost 5-0. He's pausing now. Alright, and things obviously didn't go well, right? Right, so 5-0, thrashing.
5-0 thrashing.
Hold on. Roshan will ask the question.
Roshan.
So Roshan, you've got a couple of questions. You can ask one or two questions. It doesn't matter. You can follow up, right? So, and I'll stop you when I'm happy.
The easiest way, if you want to start, the first question you can always start with.
Okay, Roshan, start.
Is just, Alam Shah, 5-0 defeat. What do you think of the game?
It felt really good with the players' performance despite the 5-0 loss, because the principle have been set and they really try hard in doing what we are set to do. The chances taken from the other team is really clinical, and we have to give credit to them.
So if the principle was set and the players tried their best to deliver, are you saying that tactics were at fault? Is it your responsibility that they lost?
It's my responsibility to take at this present moment, but I think the players must have a fair time to get into the growth of this principle. I think basically when over time, then we can reflect on this matter again.
And what were these principles that you were trying to impart on your players?
The belief that they have to understand getting into positions where they should be, because of our playing style, where position is the key to our play. I think here and there, 2-3 players are off position. I think that have to be reflected on again in the training session ahead.
Do you think you need to strengthen in any areas of the squad?
I don't think so. We need to be living in this system and the players we had, and the others, if we were to change, and then it will create a disbelief in their depth as well. So we need to stay focused on the path and keep believing it.
Mr. Roshan and Mr. Noor Ali, thank you so much. That was good, and obviously in different
bit of tension there as well.
Yeah. different emotions as well, because you don't really feel that in a game situation after a game losing 5-0. But some good questions there, especially the very first one.
It just brought me back to our B license.
I want to follow up on that with this session and stuff later. Okay, just slightly later. Okay, Noor Ali, you're up next, right?
Yeah.
Your team lost 1-0. Okay, played so very well, missed 100 chances in front of goal. Your main striker didn't score. all right, but he was presented with some open gilt-edged chances, missed it. And in the very last minute of the game, you had a clear-cut penalty, losing 1-0. Clear-cut penalty, referee didn't see it, didn't give it. Went on, lost the game.
Just love that kind of.
Dude, that is gonna, from my perspective, that will be my first question.
Right, so lost the game. Referee didn't see the penalty, lost the game 1-0. But your guys did well, but didn't score goals. Star striker couldn't hit the net, right? Roshan, take it away.
Can I? No, never. Because you never asked me just now whether this is a start season or the end season.
We didn't have that one. Yeah.
Oh, now you put me on the spot.
No. This one.
End season, you lose an AFC spot.
Yeah. Okay, fine enough. Yeah. So you needed a draw 1 point to get into a AFC spot.
Of course.
Let's go.
Oh, you needed a draw.
Yeah, just one draw, AFC spot.
Okay lah. I start with you. Warm you up first.
Yeah.
Okay. Nawali, what were your thoughts on that game?
I thought it was a very good, entertaining game. I think both sides were equally good. You know, you can see the intensity and the pace of the game. But saying that, I think the result doesn't go on our way lah.
Yeah, you needed a point to qualify for the AFC Cup for next season, and there was a big decision at the end there by the referee, not giving a penalty, right? Not giving a penalty.
Yes.
Not giving a penalty to your team. What's your take on that?
I mean, I didn't really see the whole incident, and I I can't say anything about that decision. I think the referee is closer to play, and maybe he sees different thing, but I know the players are arguing about the penalty decision, and we know how important was that, it was given. But I mean, the referee makes the call, and I think it stands 1-0 for us at this point of time. Yeah.
What's the mood like in the dressing room? You were with the boys a little bit earlier before coming out here.
Of course, the boy feels they are very disappointed, because they know they created enough chances to win the game, and there was we were controlling the game, and we were much the better team in terms of creating chances, But if you don't score, you don't win games, and even saying that, we just need a point to qualify for the AFC spot. And I think, of course, definitely after a long season, last game, there's the only chance to progress to AFC, and I think we missed out the chance.
Okay, so we come to the end of the season. You put in some good effort. You missed out on your target, which was the AFC Cup spot. What next?
I think we have got the move forward from here. I think it has been a good season for us. We managed to at least go out there and try to fight for AFC spot. I think next year, definitely I want to retain a majority of the team, so that we can keep the same momentum. And also, hopefully, we can try out for the next AFC spot next season. Yeah. Momentum is like NBC. Momentum.
Nawali, from the commentary position, we saw on the videos, it was a clear-cut penalty.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? The referee didn't see it. It was a clear-cut penalty.
That's I can't say anything much about the penalty because like I say, you got to respect the decisions of the referees and I know these kind of things, you get frustrated with coaches and players, because this is one game that is so much important to the team, and saying that, I think the referee makes the call. And if we put on the one penalty that should have been given in the last minute, we should have looked back at the chances that we have missed throughout the game, then the penalty would not be a talking point right now. So I think the players got to look at that and just move on from here.
Thank you, Noor Ali.
Yeah, I don't think but I don't think realistically the interviewer will ask, it was a clear-cut penality. Because you are
I was just pushing it.
You're choking, right?
Choking.
Roshan, how did they do? In a general, how was the general feel?
No, like I said, I think these two guys are experienced enough. We've seen enough of their interviews to know that they know how to, like I said, pause. They mentioned their own tactics. They pause, deflect. At times they can deflect. Like, no, he might have been fuming at the
of course.
If you watched him on the touchline, he would have been screaming at everybody. Once come down, but once come down to the interview, he said, I can't speak about the referees.
Okay, this is the question for you, right? Do you think Noor Alam Shah was too nice? Because it's 5-0, played like crap, right? And when the first question was, what did you ask him? The first question.
No, I just asked him what he thought of the game.
What you thought about the game, and you said you felt good or something like that. And do you think he was a little bit too nice?
Or
is it okay for a coach to say, I think that wasn't good enough for my players?
Of course, it's okay. Yeah. Of course, it's okay. But also in this scenario, they know it's not nothing happened. There's no emotion of the game coming through. and then you react differently in those situations. But it's okay. It's absolutely okay for the coach to say,
okay?
like, we didn't do well. As a team, they're not singling out individuals. They're not saying he was terrible or whatever.
Okay,
but even the top coaches will say, we didn't play well today, or we lost to a better team, or whatever. And things like that. So
that was the thing that was alluding to.
It's okay. It's okay to say that. But what he said also, actually, you bring up a good point, because if he say I'm okay, I'm happy with the result, then for me I got ammunition to say, you lost 5-0,
But you actually said something like that.
I did, right? So if the players are performing, then is the so sometimes if the interviewer like me is listening to your answer, I can pick up on things and put more pressure on you. So that's also another thing to
That's
sort
why
of
Shah is trying to say, he can answer that because his answer is start of the season.
Yeah.
That's
if
right.
you put it,
If you put it at the
later
end of
part
the
is
year, it will be a different.
it will be a different scenario.
You are under
He
pressure.
could have gone the other way around as well. He said, but this is the last game of the season.
Yeah.
He could have said.
If he has said that, then it will be a different.
Or maybe
ball game.
after 15 games, and you
The
then
context is important. The context
This
is
happens
important.
to me in our fourth game. We lost 4-0 with Balestier.
Right.
So we got the highest amount of shots compared to the first 3 games.
Yeah.
But when we look in the field, they are doing what they are supposed to do.
That's right.
So after that match, then we start to go Hougang, and then we draw Hougang 3-3, then we won. So the belief we already know. But if you ask me, the Young Lions game, after the return from break, I blasted my whole team. I say, not only my team, but also the other team. I I don't understand what these two teams are playing. I'm at fault, and then the other team is at fault.
5-0, very nice. 1-0 last season, I could not give my team top.
Yeah.
1-0 at halftime, I could not give my team top. He was
Oh,
shouting at the
okay,
top of
okay.
his voice on the other side of their room at Jurong East. I got to wait until he finished talking.
Jurong East.
1-0, 1-0,
Right.
5-0. Alam Shah.
Relax.
Become Lion King.
So you see, that's the thing with the role play also. It was enjoyable, but also within the context of the game.
Yes,
and
yes.
let's say within the game, maybe that 1-0 that they lost, he made 2 changes at halftime. Or this change, that change. Is that your down to you? What did why did you make those changes? They didn't work. What was the thinking behind that? So that kind of thing lah. Within the context.
Guys, time have flown by. It's 47 minutes already, but just a few things right now. How do we, or where do we go from here? And not only for you guys, I think you guys are pretty good. You know how to answer and stuff like that, how to deflect, like you said, techniques. But for the coaches out there who are coming up, maybe in C license or whatever, at whatever level, where do we go from here? Do we need a formal course, Roshan?
I think so. I think it can benefit from proper sort of educating the coaches or even players about these kind of things. Interviewing and how you deal with the press, how you deal with the media and things like that. There is in the coaching courses as we established, but and then I got to agree with what Nawali said earlier. He feels like it's not enough, and I think it's true.
You want to come up with one soon?
Sure. I don't mind. Let me go and think about it and put a proper plan together. But I also think in our context, our local context, we can have media training for media people also. No, because I feel
I'll start another episode for this, bro.
No, I feel like our ecosystem can only grow if we all grow together and work together.
Yeah, of course.
That's the things I see.
We all take our responsibility for our things.
It's enjoyable because you are knowledgeable about the game. It's enjoyable role play because we are football people. Sometimes we get a question from other people who don't understand the game. Is frustration. Like he say, sometimes you answer me a question, you never look at my face. I want to slap your body. I just keep my quiet. I just do my job.
Right.
So it's different because we need two people to understand.
Two hands to clap. I think
Yes.
you said it at the beginning just now. I think it is a good point, right? So we hope to have something like this, and I really think so as well, because I sometimes cringe and get angry sometimes, right, over things like the things that people ask and the way things are being answered, and so I think that's needed.
Reflection is important lah.
Yeah.
Self-reflect by anything.
Right.
It's not that we
Correct.
talk now. It's not that we talk now and we like know it all or whatever.
Oh,
Right?
that's
It's
true.
important to put that out also as a
Roshan, can the media make or break a coach, a manager, in terms of
man.
yeah?
I think maybe not in the Singapore context. Because I think media here generally very nice.
Yeah.
That we don't put pressure on you, or you don't, like in the UK for example, let's say you go out for a meal or whatever, your photo is in the papers the next day.
Yeah.
Over here we don't really have that one. In
Not so
fact,
bad,
our
like.
coverage, sports coverage also.
Right.
Again, maybe we need another podcast for this, another 1 hour
Okay.
lah. We can do better with our. We can do more with our sports coverage lah.
Right. Any last thoughts from you guys in terms of the media and coaches? Not about where you're going to eat after this, right? But like any thoughts? Last thoughts about the media and coaches, because this will go out and coaches will listen to this. I'm sure, and they would want to know and your thoughts as well. How important it is for you guys and how has it been?
I feel like the media people can improve. Like what Roshan said, the reflection part must be on point all the time, and then the knowledge of the game must be on point all the time. So it will be a two-way of talking, and the question must be like more of a football tactics question rather than emotions and what, because it's just like targeting one player, so not one question.
Okay, you spoke in terms of the media, right? How about you, Nawali, in terms of coaches? Any advice for coaches in terms of media relations?
For me, it's not only based on if we talk about media, it's not only based on whatever interviews we give before or after the game. I think as coaches, we always go to a lot of interviews and we sit. I think the important thing is to be positive and be respectful among the coaches in the industry. I think that's very, very important now. Because I think that's where the coaches education comes in now. Because I think this is very very important, because you don't only represent yourself, you actually represent the club or maybe whichever industry you are in. So you're working with youth, you must know how to talk as a youth coach. You are working with first team, you must know how to talk. I think this is very important for coaches education because I think with a lot of things happening on the ground with the FAS targets of going 2034 and everything, we need this kind of proper we must have the coaches to have proper guidance in terms of going out there to speak well for the country and for club lah. I think this is very important because it's how you guys say earlier on it's part and parcel of the job scope lah. So we have to do that lah.
I just want to add one last thing if I can. About first of all, excellent advice and insight and all that they've been provided, but also the coaches who come out and after a game result is poor and put on step in front of the camera is also congratulations to you all and things like that. And there was one thing in the international Singapore had a very difficult campaign recently in the qualifiers, but every time Yoshida was there to stand up and sort of speak to media, even though it's not his first language, stand up and take responsibility. Because it could have been so easy for him to just say, give 1-2 word answer, but he always, from what I know, he always made himself available to the tough questions. So it's not easy, especially as you all say after a defeat 5-0. You can still say you're happy, but to try and cover your emotions in the heated situation and deal with questions that might be like you say frustrating and silly questions. And so I think on behalf of like us watching, we appreciate stuff like that.
Maybe when he mentioned about Tatsuma, I think Japanese coaches are trained to do this. They are trained to do this because I was there 1 year. Yeah, so I see how they actually the first team coaches they are being they will be given the questions all earlier on. They will sit down, everything.
So they're trained.
They're trained on how to handle this kind of things, because there's only not one camera. It's like
multiple.
It's on him himself and he's just standing on there. So
good point.
I think
guys, it has been enjoyable for me, at least. I don't know about you guys. I think it has been wonderful, and I think it has been educational as well. And I'm sure if coaches are listening in, they will know, they will pick up stuff, especially from the media side as well, and from you guys as well. And then you guys have been wonderful because you've experienced and stuff like that. And thank you so much again, Rhysh, coming down last minute into the team lineup, like I said, like Mahrez. Mr. Noor Ali.
Mr. Noor Ali.
Thank you for being here. Now, guys, please, if you're listening in, follow us on IG. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. This is going out on YouTube as well. Thank you for listening in. This has been the Coaches Podcast, the podcast by coaches for coaches. Cheers.